Good afternoon, everybody. The purpose of tonight's conference or press conference, if you will, is to kind of get ahead of some of the policy related issues that we're seeing, but also getting getting you guys educated on the community approach to our hazard mitigation plan and some of the risks that we've identified. So as you all know, the St. George Fire Protection District is tasked with emergency management for the city of St. George. Some of the risks and some of the mitigation factors that go along with that are going to be as follows. This will include a component of cooperation and a little bit of collaboration with the city of Baton Rouge, Mayor's Office of Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness, and a few other tools. We want to start with identifying some of the risks and hazards in the community. The first of those being some exposure or potential exposures rather to hazardous chemicals and how we could potentially handle mass evacuations. As you all know, in our area, we have the nuclear plant that is north of us on the Mississippi River. We have multiple wastewater treatment sites, and we also have the chemical corridor on the Mississippi River. We want to pay close attention to the hazmat component there, have a plan for mass evacuation, and certainly communicate with local hospitals to see, in the event of a mass exposure, what do we have available for us as far as treatment. Another area that we stand to improve on is general stormwater operations, and we're not going to go into detail on the drainage component of that, but we're going to focus on the search and rescue component. Even outside of the floodwater area, we're also going to talk about the USAR component. If we do have that slow rise or widespread flooding and any no notice event for flash flooding in this area, we need to have a unified front in the parish for these rescue resources. Those rescue resources are clearly identified at the current moment. However, the parish emergency response plan, one, is out of date. Two, it is very clear on who the lead role in that would be. So those are two vulnerabilities for us in the community itself, but we need to move on and discuss some of the communications tools and how we would handle reporting some of these incidents. We have the ability to spin up an EOC in the southern part of the parish here at the St. George Training and Communication Center. Obviously, whenever these disasters are declared, Mayor's Office of Homeland Security spins up their EOC at the parish EOC building, and we can communicate with them in various ways. We have the ability to do a web EOC request, which is if we needed resources from another municipality. We can certainly handle that way, but the communications plan itself does stand for some improvement. We need the ability when towers go down, should the case may be. In fact, just to cite an example, when we had a multi-state 911 outage a few months back, it affected Louisiana and Mississippi. We just need hardwire communications and a backup plan should that situation ever occur again, and we have an increase in demand for emergency services. We will see that very commonly in the hurricane and natural storm situation. With that being said, we do have some contingencies in place with two-way radios. We have multiple tower sites in the parish and in surrounding areas, so we can certainly use those as backups. After these events happen, what kind of services can we provide to the community? Obviously, a component of this is going to be community resilience. What can we do for each other while waiting for federal aid? But the next layer of that is, what can we do to educate the community to understand, or anticipate rather, next steps? If we have a declared disaster, helping them navigate FEMA processes. Many folks in the 2016 flood suffered from some documentation errors and some semantics errors on the front side of policy declarations, quite frankly. So we would like to take an opportunity to kind of get in front of some of those situations with a community education component. So where does all this information come from? As an elected official, you may be wondering where some of this guidance comes from. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, first of all, we do a lot of things consistent with their guidance: incident management, system, the incident command system that we use day-to-day operations is in accordance with that. The national preparedness goals for fortifying communities, for preparing responses, things like that. The national exercise program, is essentially a standardized exercise program that would assist us in gauging what our level of readiness is. And some of your emergency management officials, specifically with the fire department, we're prepared to implement some of those, and quite frankly, we have. So once these things happen, how do you contact the people that you need? We have the non-emergency contact lines. There's email addresses, there's phone numbers available. Call the fire department, contact you as elected officials may be contacted by members of the public. Reach out to the executive leadership at the fire department, local police department. We can all steer you in the right direction. And if we are not the end all be all resource for that, we can certainly help you find who is. So contact info, please don't fret over that. It's very easily attainable on the internet. And if not, visit somebody's local office and they can help you through that. The last thing I want to address is dealing with the media. When we have these instances, preparedness, the time to prepare is over. Whenever the incident comes in, it's time for us to put our money where our mouth is from a response capability. Anybody in this role that deals with the media and gets in front of members of the public, I will say that we're at an all-time high where we fall subject to the court of public opinion. So anybody who speaks on behalf of these incidents, your agency's readiness, your agency's capabilities, you only get one chance to tell the truth. And we just want to make sure that good info that we can support is being put out there on behalf of our agencies. So if you've had any questions, please reach out. Other than that, thank you very much for your time, and hopefully this addressed all your concerns.